brown bears. The rare animals were living in terrible conditions in Hungary, but a charity called Whisper, the World Society for the Protection of Animals, has stepped in to save them. They're now settling into their brand new home at a special bear sanctuary in Varisha House, north of the capital, Budapest. This is the closest to freedom these bears will ever get. For the first time in years, they can roam freely in up to 10 acres of parkland. Just days ago, the same animals were suffering in appalling conditions. They were kept in cramped cages, the end of the road for these animals, left to waste after being forced to perform for years in films and on television. Desperately thirsty and showing signs of distress, they would have spent the rest of their lives like this.
Whisper's delighted that we've been able to move these bears from the terrible cages in which you'll have seen them earlier and move them to a semi-wild sanctuary where they will be able to live the rest of their days in peace.
Hungary isn't the only country where bears are mistreated for entertainment. Newsround Extra reported on bears in Greece, forced to dance to amuse the public. One tug on the chains through their noses can cause terrible pain. Since this report went out, things have got better in Greece. However, Whisper believes there are still several hundred bears across Europe that are used for entertainment and suffer unacceptable cruelty. The bears in Hungary were lucky. Though they're too tame to look after themselves in the wild, this is the next best thing. Getting to grips with their new home was a little tricky. But one thing's for sure, here they've got pretty much everything they need. In just under 2 hours, one of America's first ever space heroes blasts off into orbit. John Glenn, the oldest astronaut ever, will join 6 others on board the shuttle Discovery. He was last in space 36 years ago. Final preparations are well underway before the launch from Cape Canaveral in Florida. Rebecca Lovell has the details.
John Glenn is no stranger to setting space records. In 1962, he became the first man to orbit the Earth.
Godspeed, John Glenn. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Today, he's back in a spacesuit, looking somewhat older than the rest of the team. But it's precisely because of his age that he's persuaded NASA to let him go on this latest mission. He'll take part in a series of tests to help scientists understand more about what happens when the body grows old.
This is a major step forward. I'm excited about that aspect of it as much as I am about going up again myself.
Thousands of people, including President Clinton and film heartthrob Leonardo DiCaprio, are expected to attend the launch.
Well, joining me now from the launch site in America is the BBC science correspondent, James Wilkinson. James, under 2 hours to go, there must be an incredible atmosphere.
It's a marvellous atmosphere here, yes. There are lots of families camped out on the roads into the Kennedy Space Center. The weather is marvellous, not a cloud in the sky, and on the distance there on the horizon about 3 miles away, is the space shuttle waiting for a launch on time, we hope, at 7 o'clock tonight.
John Glenn is 77 years old. Are there any worries about his health?
Well, he's 77, he's a grandfather, but he is very fit grandfather. In fact, NASA wouldn't have decided to send him up if they weren't happy that he could cope with the strains. But the point is, this is an experiment. Nobody that age has ever been into space before, so we don't really know what's going to happen to him. But everybody is confident he will be fine.
As well as the aging process, are there any other experiments that are going to be carried out?
Oh yes, this is purely a scientific mission, and there is a lot of experiments being done to study the sun. There are also some experiments being put on board by some high school students, one of which, in fact, is to study the effect of weightlessness on popcorn and Coca-Cola. Of course, they're not interested in that because they want to put it to good use, but it's a way of encouraging children to be interested in space and in scientific research.
Well, James, thank you very much. We'll look forward to the results. More of today's news, and floods are threatening many parts of Britain as river levels continue to rise. The Midlands and South Wales have been the worst hit, with one river, the Wye in Herefordshire, almost 6 metres higher than usual. It looks like there's nothing eternal about being in the Bandit Tunnel. According to a newspaper report, Kelly, seen here in the middle, could be the second member to leave the all-girl group after Louise quit in 1995.
And someone else who knows what it's like to leave a supergroup was a special guest at Prince Charles's 50th birthday party last night. And do you think Jerry can't sing? Make up your own mind.
Happy birthday, Your Royal Highness. Happy birthday